Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we are doing a sculpted gel French using the new Kiki London Sculpting Gels. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. If you did miss the launch video for the new sculpting gels, then do check that out. Jumping in to today's video, I have done all of the prep off camera. So I've done all of my cuticle work, dehydrated the nails and applied my primer. So we're jumping straight in to applying our base coat. Now for the base coat today, I'm using the rubbered coloured base in RB03. This is a really nice peachy, light peachy nude shade, and I thought it would work well with the sculpting gel that I had chosen to use. Now you can use any of the base coats underneath the sculpting gel, so you can use any of the rubber colour bases, you can use the clear rubber base, the classic base coat, or you can use the fibre base. So when it comes to base coat, it's down to personal choice. Now I'm going to be using the Kiki London polygel brush to apply my sculpting gel. So this is great because it has a spatula on one end and then you've got a really nice sized round brush head on the other side. Now to begin with, I'm going to take the Kiki London sculpting gel in clear and I'm actually going to sculpt out a thin clear base to work our French on top of. So what I'm going to do is once we have cured the base coat, we're then going to come in and just take our sculpting form and I'm just gently rolling it between my two thumbs just to put a nice natural curve into that sculpting form. These sculpting forms are also available on the Kiki London channel. You've probably seen me use them in some of the older sculpting videos using the easy build up gel. Now when it comes to applying sculpting forms, I find it really tricky with gloves on because they love to stick to the gloves, so it can be a little bit tricky getting the sculpting form on yourself when you're wearing gloves, but I'm doing my best to just make sure that it's all lined up nicely, tucked into place nicely, and that there's no gaps between the natural nail plate and the sculpting form, so the free edge of the natural nail and the sculpting form. You can tailor your forms to fit by trimming the edges and adding little cuts in at the side just to make sure that it has fully gone under the free edge, and you can shorten the free edge as well, which would make that a little bit easier too. Once I have got the sculpting form in place, I'm going to take a small bead of the clear sculpting gel, and then what we're going to start off by doing is attaching that ball of gel to the free edge of the nail and then working it down the form to create our extended free edge. And what I'm doing here is, as you can see, I've placed the ball of gel down just past the free edge on my natural nail so that it connects nicely. We're not going to worry about getting any breakages or snapping. And then I'm just using circular motions and taking that gel from side to side, making sure it goes right over onto the sculpting form. And then I'm just taking it down the nail and building out the free edge. And I'm just going for a short pointed almond shape. Then I did pop that in to cure, and then we're going to take another small ball of gel and we're going to use this on the natural nail plate. So I'm taking this, using a circular motion to get that gel to release from my brush onto the natural nail, and then I'm just taking it in circular motion, same as what we did with the tip, getting it as close as I can to that cuticle area, and then just walking it from side to side down the nail. And then as we get to that area where we've built up our free edge, I'm just going to thin it out and brush it down a little bit. Now we do only want this to be a thin clear base because we're going to be doing all of our structured now on top, so we don't need to build up any thickness or any structure here, but you do want to make sure that it's strong enough at those stress points where the free edge ends and your enhancement starts, if that makes sense. So where you've sculpted your extension on, you want to make sure that there's enough gel there. And then once we have cured that, I'm going to remove my form by pulling it downwards. Now these forms are super sticky, which is amazing because it really holds them well in place, especially when you're doing all 5 nails and working on a client. So you want to make sure that you pull down away from your tip and be quite gentle, because if you've only done a thin base, you want to be careful that you don't break it. Once that sculpted form has been removed, I'm going to take some alcohol and just wipe away the tacky layer from the gel, because I want to actually file and shape this before we come in and start working with our French design. Now this is completely optional. The neater you are with your sculpting gel, you might find that you don't need to do this, but personally I do like to make sure that my thin clear base is shaped how I want my overall shape to be, because then you're going to have less finish filing to do at the end when you've created created your structure of your nail. So I'm just taking the 180 grit side of my file and just gently perfecting the shape. Now of course, the more experience you get with the gel, you're going to perfect your shape on that form, but you may find that you want to come in and just make it a little bit more neater. So there's no harm in doing this. I would just only recommend using the 180 grit side of the file, and you do need to make sure that you're being very careful because it is only a thin base. I'm then just gently filing over the entire surface of the nail just to make sure everything was nice and thin and nice and even. I am still getting to grips a little bit of sculpting. I'm a little bit out of practice as it's not something that I've done too often, so I'm just making sure that I'm happy with my thin clear base. Then I did clean away all the dust, and then we're going to start by building the nail bed area of our reverse French, and I'm going to be doing this in natural cover. Now this is an absolutely gorgeous nude, so I'm going to pick up a small bead of this and I'm going to start by working it down at that cuticle area, and you can see I'm just doing little gentle circular nudges with my brush just to work that product up into the cuticle area. Now because I don't want my cuticle area to be too thick, I've placed that ball of gel down away from the cuticle area and I'm just pushing it up gently towards that cuticle area. Now because the gel is a medium viscosity, you do have quite a lot of control over it. It's going to gently flow where you're guiding it to go with the brush, which I found this great because it's not too runny, so it's not going to run back and flood the cuticles, but it does help if you keep your nail pointed downwards, because then the gel is going to flow where you're guiding it to. And obviously I'm guiding it down the nail because I want to create our nail bed area for our French, so I want to create that smile line. So this is where we're at now. I'm taking that product from side to side, making sure that I'm covering all of the nail bed area, and then as we get out towards the tip, I'm bringing the gel into a point in the center to create our smile line shape. So I'm again doing this with my brush. Instead of taking it all the way out to the side, I'm just bringing it out halfway, say, just so we're creating the deep edges of the smile line. I couldn't get my words out there. Then I'm going to just clean off my brush, and then with a little bit of alcohol on that brush, I'm going to neaten up that smile line area and just create a bit more of a deeper wing area. I don't want this to look like an extreme French. I want it to look quite natural, so I don't want to create too deep wings, and I have only extended that smile line out a little bit further than what my natural nail would be, just because I do want a nice rounded shape. Then whilst that gel is still wet, so we've not popped anything into cure yet, I'm then going to come in with another ball of gel, and I'm doing this for two reasons. So firstly, I don't want to have to encapsulate this now in clear. I want to build up the entire strength and structure with the natural cover and the Milky White. So I need to make sure I've got enough gel on there that the nail is the right thickness and that structure is there. So I want to have a little bit more gel in that back third for the apex area, and I want to bring a little bit more gel down the center part of the nail to build up the structure. And then when you are doing a reverse French, what you normally would do is build up the wall for your smile line area a little bit higher, and this means that you can then cure it, come in with a file and file it nice and crisp so that you've got a nice sharp edge for your white to push up against. So now that I'm happy with the thickness of that, I'm going to pop that in to cure, and then what I'm going to do is again take a little bit of alcohol and wipe off the tacky inhibition layer that's left behind. And now this again means that we can take the file, push it nice and flat up against that smile line that we've created with the natural cover, and just make it a little bit more neat and a little bit more crisp. Now again, this is something that you don't necessarily have to do. If you want a more natural look, you can just create your smile line with the gel, but I often find it really takes your French up a level by coming in and filing it crisp. Even if you're happy with the overall shape and your sidewalls and the wings of the French are quite consistent, just coming in and filing it takes a few seconds and it gives you a really crisp smile line. Now to do this, you want to make sure that you're not filing into the gel, so you want to keep your file nice and flat up against that extended nail bed area. And you can just see here the dust will show you the line that you're creating, and I just personally always like doing this step as I feel it just gives me a lot more of a nicer look to the French. Then we're going to clean away all that dust, and for our tip, of course, we're going to use the new Milky White. Now this is a really beautiful white. For a white gel, it has an absolute beautiful consistency, so it makes applying it really easy. Now, one of the things I love about doing a reverse French is you can actually take your white over that smile line you've created, because then you're going to file away the excess and it's going to reveal your crisp smile line. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a ball of that Milky White on my gel brush and I'm just taking it from side to side, making sure that I'm covering the entire tip of the nail, but then also getting down into those wings as well. Now, when you are doing this, ideally what you want to do is pull the skin back from the sidewall so that you can get down right into those corners without touching the skin or the sidewall area. This can be a little bit tricky when you're working on yourself. It's a lot easier when you're working on a client, because obviously you've got two hands. So you can use one hand to hold that skin out of the way, and then with your other hand you're working with your gel. So you might need to take a little bit more time if you are doing it on your own nails. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm just coming in with another ball of gel, because like I said when I was building up the nail bed area, we're not going to be encapsulating this in clear, so we want to make sure that we have got enough gel on the tip of the nail to build up the thickness that we need. We don't need a super thick tip, but we do want to make sure that we're building it up a little bit so that it's not going to have any breakages. Now that I've covered the entire tip area of the nail, I've got down into those wings, I'm going to pop that in to cure for 60 seconds. Then once again we're going to take our alcohol wipe and wipe away that tacky inhibition layer, and at this point it's looking quite messy, but like I said, this is what I love about doing a reverse French, because then what you're going to do is you're going to take your file. I'm starting off by using the 100 grit side of the file, but if you don't feel confident using that, you can use the 180, and I'm just focusing on filing off that excess white, and you can immediately see it's filed off super quickly and it's revealed our smile line that we created. As long as you create a nice neat smile line with your nude or your pink, whatever you're building your extended nail bed area with, it doesn't matter if you take that white over the edge. Once you file off the excess, you will reveal that beautiful smile line that you've created. Now what I'm going to do is stick in with my file. I'm going to use a combination of the 100 grit side and the 180 grit side just to file the shape, and then also just go over the surface of the nail to make sure everything is nice and smooth. I'm filing out any unevenness that I might have created with my application, making sure the gel is tucked in nice and thin around that cuticle area, and just going overall the entire nail to make sure I'm happy with all of the strength and structure, and of course the shape as well. Although we did file to shape our clear base, of course when we've come in and applied our gel, we have lost that shape just a little bit, so I've come in to crisp up the shape. I still find it a lot quicker to file my clear base and have that to work on top of. Even if you end up with a little bit of a messy free edge as you go out throughout the rest of the nail, it's a lot quicker to file it back into shape, if that makes sense. And I do find this gel absolutely beautiful to file as well. It does file down fairly quickly, so you want to be careful if you're using the 100 grit side of your file that you don't over file the nail. I then did come in and use a combination of the 100 grit side of the buffer and then the 180 grit side of the buffer, just to make sure everything's nice and smooth, and this also eliminates any scratches that your file might have left behind on the nail. And then lastly we come in and applied the no wipe top coat just to finish off the nail and bring back that beautiful shine. And for a natural looking French, I really loved how this one turned out. Especially to say I haven't done a sculpted gel French in a very long time. So do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know if you have tried the new sculpting gels. If you haven't, then do check them out. As always, all the products I've used will be linked in the description box below, along with the Kiki London website. I'm really loving the new sculpting gels, and I'm going to try and have as many videos up on the channel with them as possible. So do let me know if you have any requests, and I pop them in the comments below and I will give them a go. I just finished off there with the Coconut Escape cuticle oil, and then I'm going to end the video with a couple of pictures. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider hitting that subscription button. I upload videos every single Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful day and a lovely weekend. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.